in this 2-liter graduated cylinder overnight in deionized water. So I'm going to take it over and try to dry it first. So I have a retort stand here that holds it, and I have a air supply from a compressed air tank. I'm going to connect this to the top, turn on the air. What you'll notice is it'll start to dry out, but in this lower portion down here, the center part is called the annulus. Water will often sit in the bottom of that, so just tapping on the bottom pressurizes that and forces the water out. So a bunch of quick little taps on the bottom will help dry that out. So it actually looks pretty good. That annulus is dry. That's the main point of this setup here. So to remove the bulk of the water, I'm going to use methanol. I'm going to disconnect the top here. I have a methanol waste beaker here, and I have methanol in a squeeze bottle. I'll then take the denuder from the large end up and the small end down, and I will squeeze methanol into it. I like to kind of let it sit a little bit more level so I can kind of make sure that the whole glass surface gets covered in methanol. Be generous with the methanol. Let it drip out. Put it back in the retort stand and dry it off. So with the use of the methanol in there, it should dry quite quickly. Now you'll see that annulus is getting filled again. So again, short little blast of pressure should clear it out. And use a large Kim wipe just to wipe the outside so I can see what parts are drying and what parts are not. So with this particular denuder, I'm seeing some spots here that are retaining water around the connections between the inner and outer glass, both at the top and the bottom. So I can already tell that this glass is going to be difficult to get fully dry. Sometimes that water can be held in place quite well and the methanol doesn't actually flush it. So in this case, I'm going to try and drive that water out. Holding on to it very closely, trying to push that water out. So as you can see, that has cleared that water. So now again, I'm going to run some methanol through to make sure that I get all the water out of here. I think I might even try that again. Very careful when you do this, not to throw the glassware. My air supply again. See if I can get that dried out. Again, it's getting sucked up into the annulus. Try and drive that out. Still a spot there. Try and get that dried out with my hand, adding a bit of heat to it. Most of them don't require this. It's just a few of them that get a little problematic. Looks like it's going to be really problematic. Ones that are especially challenging, I'll go ahead and use a heat gun on it. That should add enough heat to evaporate the water or methanol that's left behind. So I'll just put that right on the problem spot. It's usually pretty quick. Okay, it looks dry now. I'm just going to let it cool off. Okay, it's cool to the touch now. Lots of air flowing through it. Makes it nice and quick. So the next part is to use the KCl coated Denuder solution, which is 90 grams of KCl dissolved in 500 mils of DI. I generally use this for about 1 year and then replace it. I don't see much in this, but I always give it a little shake just to make sure it's fully dissolved. Now I'm going to turn off the gas. I'm going to turn this Denuder upside down. Okay, so now the larger end is down. I'm going to put the larger end into the Denuder solution, and I'm going to attach my hand pump. I've got this hand pump mounted on another retort stand just to make it a little easier for myself. So now I'm going to go ahead and pump that, and you'll see the water rising, and you want to bring that right up to the top of the frosted section without going past it. So I'm going to stay a little bit below. I'm going to start a stopwatch now. Okay, so that's what it looks like at the top. So I'm near the top without going over. It should just hold there. So we let this sit for a full minute and then release it. Okay, so now as we come up to 1 minute, I'm going to start slowly releasing that, so in a controlled way so that it slowly goes down. The only part we're really concerned about is this frosted section down to here. So nice and slow through the frosted section. But once you pass the frosted section, it really doesn't matter because we're going to rinse it out from down below it anyways. So once I hit the bottom of the frosted section, I just push the button all the way in. And then I like to lift it out of the solution so the bottom comes right out and all the liquid comes out. And that's just so that the next time you bring this up, you're not going to be using the same solution. It's going to be different from within the bottle. So it goes down for another minute, and we repeat that 3 times. So the whole process takes 5 minutes. Kind of lower that back down into the liquid. It's coming up to 2 minutes now. So now I will bring the solution back up through the frosted section. Again, right up to the top without going over. Let it sit there for a minute. So as we're approaching 3 minutes now, I'm going to lower the solution down out of the denuder, again in a slow and controlled manner, at least through the frosted section. And lift it out of the solution. Lower it back into the solution. And as we're approaching 4 minutes now, this will be the third time drawing it up. There we go. Okay, so now that we approach 5 minutes, I'll release the solution, again, nice and slowly. Okay, so now we can undo the top. Raise it out of the solution, right out of the bottle. Put the cap back in the bottle and set that aside. We're done with that. Just gonna lower it to work with. So now we want to dry that out with, again, some more zero air. So I'm going to take the same fitting we used here, but now we need the smaller fitting. So I have mine on a connection that just pushes on. So this is the smaller fitting. Just turning it on to a slow flow from the tank. I'm going to connect that, and typically you can kind of see this start to dry and move down through the frosted section. So you can just watch that until it gets all the way to the bottom, and then we can rinse out the bottom. Because the target is to get just the frosted section covered with the KCl solution, but the other parts of the glassware we do not want the KCl solution on. So that's just going to dry it. I'm going to increase a bit more flow. This is a brand new denuder. This is the first time it's been coated, and it's actually a little more difficult to see that kind of drying phase. So I'm just going to give it a little time to dry out. In the meantime, while that dries, I'm going to get some DI prepared.